With the checking account class, we don't want to use withdraw exactly as it's defined in its base class, the account class, because we might want to set special rules for overdrafts and things like that. So we want to redefine withdraw in the derived class checking account. But we can't do it exactly as is. The first thing we have to do is we're going to have to redefine withdraw as what is called a virtual class. By making it virtual, we're saying that the first thing we have to do is make withdraw a virtual method. By typing in the keyword virtual in the definition of withdraw, we're saying that withdraw can be redefined or overridden in a derived class. Once withdraw is made virtual, then we can override it. But we have another problem. Before we can implement withdraw in the derived class, we need to make balance accessible. For example, if I try to define withdraw in the derived class, we have public override, void withdraw. So once I start the definition, the compiler pulls in the rest of the definition. I don't want this call to base withdraw. What I want to do is I want to check for an overdraft amount. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that the overdraft amount is $400. So we're going to go back into the class definition and create a variable overdraw and set an amount. So we're going to say it's negative 400. In other words, you can be $400 overdrawn and still get money out of your account. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say if balance minus amount is greater than or equal to overdraw, balance minus equal amount. Else, and here we'll just write a very primitive error message, console write line, insufficient funds. Now, notice what happens. After I make the definition, it tells me that balance is inaccessible due to its protection level. Well, let's go back and look at the definition of balance, and it's a private data member, which means that it's only accessible within the definition of the class. There's a couple of ways around this, and we'll look at the second way in the next lesson. But what I'm going to do for the first way around this is create a property. So I'm going to come to the bottom of the count class, and I'm going to write public decimal balance. And we're going to do a getter, return balance, and then a setter, balance equals value. And again, I'm not worrying too much about data validation here. Now, with this property in place, I can come back to here and change balance to base.balance. And right here I can write base.balance. And now I have access properly to the private data member from the account class. I have no errors, so everything looks correct. Let's test this program by writing a little code. So we'll create a checking account. Say the ID is 1 and the balance is, let's say, $1,000. So let's try a withdrawal right off the bat that will take us beyond the overdraft amount. So it's $400, so let's try to take $1,500 out of our account. Then let's display the balance. And we better add a console read key in here also. So we'll keep the screen open. Let's compile and run the program. And you see that it says insufficient funds when I try to make that withdrawal. So if we do a deposit first, put another couple thousand in, then do the withdrawal. So we put in 3 and we took out 1,500, and that left us with 1,500. So when we want to override a base class method, we have to make the base class virtual. That means it's overridable. We can override it in a derived class. Then we've got to think about if we need access to any of the private data members of the base class. And if we do, then as one alternative, we need to create some sort of method, either a property method or some other method that allows us access to that data. And we like it in a property or another method because we have control. We can check and make sure that we're not getting illegal access or allowing values to be set to illegal values. We're not doing that in this particular example just because we don't have time to cover every aspect of program development. Here we're trying to illustrate principles of inheritance, not error checking and data validation. Then, once we have declared the method virtual and made sure we have access, in our derived class, the method we want to override, we have to mark as override. in order for it to actually be redefining the withdrawal method that was originally defined in the base class. And once we do that, then we're ready to go. And notice that if we want access to a property from the base class, we have to put keyword base in front of that. So I mentioned earlier that there's another way besides writing a property method for gaining access to data members in a base class. And in the next lesson, we're going to look at that, and it's called using the protected access modifier rather than private. And we'll see that in the next lesson.